Hello students, welcome to today's session. Today we are going to discuss data types. So data means value. So what are the different kind of values that we have discussed while discussing literals? So what kind of values did we see? We saw integer values numbers without decimal point. Then we saw real values, numbers with decimal point. Then we saw character, string, boolean. All these are different kind of values, okay? And the other name for values is literals. So data type basically means representing these literals in Java using certain keywords. Okay, for example, real numbers are represented as float or double. So float is a keyword, double is a keyword in Java. So all these keywords are known as data types. For storing integers, for representing integers, we have data types such as short, int, long. For characters, we have char. For string, we have the string data type. For boolean, we have the boolean data type. Okay. And there are two different kinds of data types. One is the primitive data type and the other one is the non-primitive data type. So primitive data types are actually built in the language. They are provided by the language itself. Okay, that is why it is an integral part of the language. The other names for primitive types are intrinsic, okay, and built-in. And we have 8 different kinds of primitive data types. They are byte, short, int, long, char, float, double, and boolean. So all these different data types allows us to create variables. Okay, we'll be discussing what are variables later on. So if I create a variable of byte type, I can store a byte kind of data. If I create a variable of short type, I can store short type of data. So this is just a brief hint. Now, what are non-primitive data types? So non-primitive data types are derived from primitive types. That means what? Non-primitive data types are made up of primitive data types as well as other non-primitive data types. And the names given for non-primitive data types are reference type, derived type, or composite type. So you can use any one name for representing non-primitive data type. And there are 3 categories of non-primitive data type. First one is class, second one is arrays, and third one is the interface. So what is the difference between primitive and non-primitive? So I'll just give a brief hint. Primitive data types allows you to create variables which store data itself, whereas non-primitive data types, these kind of variables store the reference or the address of the actual data. So their storage mechanism is different. So what are the different primitive data types? First one is the integer, second one is the floating point, third one is the character, and the fourth one is the boolean. Integer is divided into many subcategories. Floating point is divided into float and double, and then we have character and then boolean. Okay, so let us see what are integers. So integer data types are used for storing whole numbers such as 767, 5050, minus 745. So either positive or negative whole numbers, right? An integer data type are of four types: byte, short, int, and long. So all these different data types, byte, short, int, and long, they represent integers, but their range is different. Okay. So a byte type of data can store only a certain range of numbers. Similarly, int type of data can store only a certain range of numbers. So what are those ranges? Let's talk about byte. So byte, if you use byte data type, it will take up 8 bits of memory or 1 byte. So 1 byte is equal to 8 bits. And it can store numbers from minus 128 to 127. So how can you get this range? How can you get this range? The calculation is simple. Since byte uses 8 bits, so 1 less than 8 is 7. So 2 power 7, that is minus 2 power 7 up till 2 power 7 minus 1. So this is the range of byte. So this will be minus 128 till 127. So byte data type can be used for storing numbers between minus 128 and 127. If you go beyond this range, it will give you error. So let's look at an example in BlueJ. Let's say I have created a byte type of variable and I store 120 in it and I compile it. So it's compiling without any syntax error. But if I try to store 190, you can see that error has come up. Okay, 190 cannot be stored inside num because byte allows only a certain range and 190 is beyond that range. Then the next type of data is short type of integer. Okay, so short is 16 bits. It occupies 16 bits in the RAM. 16 bits means 2 bytes. So if you divide the number of bits by 8, you will get the number of bytes. 16 divided by 8 is 2, so hence 2 bytes. So this is also known as short integer. Since it is using 16 bits, that means its range will be minus 2 power 15. Why 15? Because 1 less than 16 is 15, right? So minus 2 power 15 up till 2 power 15 minus 1. This will give you the number minus 32,768 to 32,767. So this is the range of short data type. Similarly, we have float. We have int data type. Okay, so int takes 4 bytes, that is 32 bits, and it stores number between minus 2 billion to positive 2 billion approximately. Similarly, the long data type uses 64 bits, so its range will be minus 2 power 63 to 2 power 63 minus 1. So you must remember these sizes. Okay, size of short is 2 bytes, size of int is 4 bytes, as well as I've shown you how to remember the range. Okay, how to calculate the range. If you can remember the size, you can automatically calculate the range. So it is important for you to remember the size. Just remember the size and automatically you will be able to calculate the range. So all these different data types were representing the integer category. Okay. Next, for storing decimal numbers, we have two different data types, float and double. So float uses 4 bytes, okay, and it allows you to use 7 decimal digits, okay, and this is the range of float. Similarly, double allows 8 bytes and 15 decimal digits, and this is the range. That means what? Double has got more precision than float. More precision means it allows more number of decimal points. So in what kind of situation will you use float? So float will be used for storing data such as temperature, salary, percentage, whereas double will be used for storing very large numbers such as the distance between two galaxies or the distance between the Earth and the Sun. Okay. So for using character, you use the character data type. Okay, CHAR. This is the data type. It is of 2 bytes and it can store a single character, and its range is between 0 till 65,535. This is the range. And you may recall that a character is represented within single quotes. So whatever character I want, I have to represent within single quotes, and these literals can be stored in variables whose data type is character or char, CHAR. Next, the Boolean data type. So Boolean data type allows you to store either true or false. It uses 8 bits. Okay, 8 bits are reserved in the memory, but only 1 bit is used. So whenever you get a question as to how many bits or how much memory does Boolean occupy, you have to mention it occupies 1 byte. Okay, 1 byte or 8 bits. So don't mention 1 bit. Although it uses 1 bit among those 8 bits, but 8 bits are reserved for Boolean data types. That is why we'll always mention 8 bits or 1 byte. So its range is, you can either store true or you can either store false. So these were the 8 different data types. Now, whenever you talk about data types, discussion of data types is incomplete without discussion of variables. Okay. So what are variables? So variables are containers. Okay, they are containers. So all these different containers I've drawn, they can store some data inside it. Okay, it can be a number, it can be a character, it can be a string. Okay, so a variable is a container which can store data, and the container has got label. Okay, such as this you may call as box 1, this one you may call as box 2. Okay, this one you may call as class 1. Okay, some kind of label will be associated with the different containers. So why do you need the labels? The labels are important because if we want to identify a particular box from thousands of boxes, you must be able to somehow point it out. So if all the boxes are labeled, okay, if all the containers are labeled, and if I tell you, please go and bring the contents of box 2, please go and bring the contents of class 1. So it will be very easy for you to locate these boxes, right? Even if you have got thousands of boxes in a room, you can easily find out which container is box 2, which container is class 1. Okay. So what are variables? Variables are containers that can store data. Okay, and we know that there are different data types, so each box will be different. For example, if this is a box of type integer, it can store integer values. Okay, if box 2 is also int, it can store integer values. So their size, the size of box 1 and the size of box 2 is same because both of them are of type int. But this box, the third box, okay, it will store long kind of data. Okay, that is why its size will be bigger than box 1 and box 2, because you know that long it requires more memory, right? So if you come here, long requires 8 bytes. Long requires 8 bytes of memory, whereas int requires 4 bytes of memories. So all these different containers or variables, their size will be different, and that size will be determined by the data type you are associating with that container. I'll repeat. The size of the variable or container will be dependent upon the data type you are associating with it. Suppose if I associate byte, with this variable or this container, the size of this box will be how much? So what is the size of byte? The size of byte is 1 byte. So this box will be of 1 byte. Similarly, if I create one more box which is slightly larger, okay, let's say this is short. Short is slightly larger than bytes, isn't it? So what is the size of short type? It is 2 bytes. So the box, the container, this container will be slightly larger because this is occupying only 1 byte and this is occupying how many? 2 bytes. Okay. So the kind of data type you associate with the box, with the variable, that will define the size of the variable, the kind of data it can store. So let me open BlueJ. As you can see, I've created a variable, I've created a container here. Okay. When I write a data type and then some label, I'm creating a container, a variable. Okay. So num is a container, is a variable of type byte. So this num variable, this num container is known as variable whose data type is byte. Okay, so let me write this down. So num is a container or variable whose type is byte. Okay, so the size of num will be 1 byte. So what will happen? Num will get 1 byte of memory reserved in the RAM. Okay, and you know that a statement must be terminated by a semicolon, so I'll put a semicolon here. Similarly, I can create all the different data types. I can create different variables with all the 8 different data types. So what are the different data types? Short, okay, then you have int, then you have long, then you have float, then you have double, and we are left with character. So char, let's say gender. So you can see I've created how many containers? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I've created 7 containers. We are missing one more data type. So byte, short, int, long, float, double. So what are we missing here? Oh, we are missing boolean. Okay, so let's create boolean type also. Okay, so you can see we have created 8 different kinds of containers, okay, or variables. First container, I've named it as num. Now this name can be anything as per your choice, but it should be something meaningful. Okay, for example, I've written is raining here. Is raining, this container is of type boolean, so this can either store true or false. You already know that boolean can store only true or false. So if I store true inside this is raining container, is raining variable, okay, that means what? It is raining, right? If it is true, if it's storing true, that means it's raining. If it's storing false, that means it's not raining. Okay, then I've chosen the name gender here. Okay, remember these names can be anything, but it should be meaningful. So I've written gender. Okay, because I want to store either male or female. M will represent male and F will represent female. Okay, so I hope you have understood what are variables. So variables are different containers that can store different values depending upon the type of data associated with them. Okay, for example, if I talk about num4, num4 is associated with the long data type. That means what? Num4 can store long numbers, okay, long integers. If I talk about temperature container or temperature variable, this container, this variable is associated with the double data type. That means this variable can store decimal numbers. Okay, so what is this? This is the data type. Okay, and after the data type you have the variable name. That is the label of the container. Okay, variable is nothing but the label of the container. Okay, and each of these variables or containers, they will store different kinds of values. Now what are values? Literals. Okay, so recall literals. So if I want to store something in gender, gender is of char type. That means what? I must have character literal on the right side of this equal to. I can have character literals. And what are character literals? Characters enclosed within single quotes. So I can store any symbol here. At the present moment I am storing, let's say, hash, the hash symbol. Okay, so you can see I can store a literal, literal or value inside the variable. Okay, so the appropriate literals should be present here. Appropriate means what? I cannot I cannot store a string literal here. Okay, I cannot store a string literal. Let's say I've got this string literal. What are string literals? We have already seen string literals means characters enclosed within double quotes. If I compile this, you can see that we have error here. Okay, this error is coming because we are trying to store a literal of string type within a character type. That is why we are getting this error. But if I use a character literal, then if I compile it, it has compiled successfully. Okay, so what kind of literal can I use here? For is raining variable, can I store a number like 123? Can I? Let's compile. No, you can see we have got errors. We cannot store 123 in is raining because is raining is of type Boolean, and Boolean can have what kind of literals? Either true literal or false literal. Okay. Similarly, I can store an integer literal here. So all the first 4 data types are integers only. So now pay attention here. This is a floating point literal and this is a double literal. How will you differentiate? You'll differentiate with this F and D. When you write F next to a decimal number, that will become float, a floating point, a float literal. And if you write D next to a decimal number, that will become a double literal. Okay. So since I've written D here, that means this is a double literal, and this is perfectly fine because we have got double data type here. So temperature variable can store only double literals. Distance variable can store only float literals. Okay. Similarly, num3 can store only integers within the range which we saw in the previous slide. Okay, if you want to go beyond that range, higher range, then you have to use the long data type. Okay, so I hope you can see the relation between data type, variable and literal. So let's look at the formal definition. A variable is an identifier. Okay, why it's known as an identifier? Because you already know what are identifiers. Okay, identifiers is a name of the variable, or it's a name of the function, or it's a name of the class, right? So since it's a name of a variable here, all these names are names of the variables, isn't it? Labels. I told you that they are labels of the containers. Okay, So it's an identifier. It can be called as an identifier. So it's an identifier that denotes a location in computer memory. It represents a location in the computer memory. So, you know, in the RAM, you'll have lots of cells. Okay. They are known as memory cells. Okay. And these cells will be labeled, such as this is num. Okay. Inside num, I've stored 123. Let's say this is raining. And it is storing what? It is storing true. Okay. So in the RAM, you will have lots of memory blocks available, and you can reserve space by declaring a variable of a certain data type. Okay. So is raining, this particular block will be of how many bytes? It will occupy 1 byte. Right? Now if you talk about this byte, this variable num here, this block of memory will occupy how many bytes? Since num is of type byte, it will occupy 2 bytes of memory. Okay. So variables they denote a location in computer memory to store a data value. And the value of those variables may take different values at different times during the execution of a program. What is the meaning of this statement here? Let's say if I print the value of is raining, what do you think the output will be? Obviously, the output will be, if you think it will be true, you are right. So you can see the output is true. Why? Because is raining is storing what? It's storing true at the moment. Okay. But after this line, if I want to change the value of is raining to false, you can definitely change the value, because is raining is what? It's a container, so the content of the container can change at any time. Okay. So now if I print the value of is raining again, what will be the output? So what will be the overall output of this program? So if you think it's true and false both, then you are right. So as you can see, first true was printed and then false was printed. True was coming because of this line, statement number 14, line number 14. When the control was on line number 14, the value of is raining was true. Okay. But when the control came to the next line, the value of is raining changed to false. Okay. So after this line, after the execution of this line, wherever I try to get the value of is raining, it will always come to false. So I hope you understand this point. I have already told you variable names are chosen by the programmer. The name can be anything, but it should be meaningful. Okay. For example, if you want to represent total marks, instead of writing TM, you can write total marks. This will be more meaningful. TM is not that meaningful. Okay, let's talk about variable declaration. We have already seen variable declaration. Okay. So all these statements are variable declaration as well as initialization. Okay. So there are two steps. There are two steps when dealing with variables. First step is, if I just create a variable, this is known as declaring a variable. Okay, this is known as declaring a variable. And when I store some value inside it for the first time, okay, you have initialized the variable. So this is what? This is declaring the variable, and this is what? This is initializing the variable. Okay. Now notice that an error has come up here. Can you tell me, can you think why this error is coming? If I compile it, it will not compile. There is an error. So what is the error? I am trying to store 10 in num variable, in num. And there is no such variable I have declared as num. Okay, this is num1. This is num1. It's not num. So this is an important point. I can use only those variables which are declared. Okay, so num1 was declared, so I can store some value inside num1, but I was trying to store some value inside num, but num does not exist. Num container does not exist. Num1 exists. Okay, this one exists, but num does not exist. So you must be careful. Whenever you try to use variables, you must make sure that you have declared it. Okay. So in the next line, if I print system.out.println, okay, there is some problem. Okay, but if I want to print the value of num1, I can do so. But if I try to put some other variable name here, like maybe is raining, if I try to print, it will give me an error, because in this program there is no such a variable as is raining. Okay, is raining was there in the previous program, but it's not here. You cannot see it declared anywhere. In this particular program, I just have one variable, that is num1. So this is the point I wanted to clear, that any variable that you use must be declared. Okay. So when you declare a variable, what happens? Reservation happens in the memory. Okay, I've already shown you memory is reserved for the particular variable. Okay, and the variable name is associated. So there are many cells, there are many blocks of memory. So when you reserve the memory, you will assign a label. Okay, the name of the variable. Okay, so this is the meaning of this statement here: associates the variable name with the memory location.